Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today my guest is Avinash, who has directed a short film called Chunaav. So do watch the whole video, like the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. So, sir, my first question is like, what inspired you to become a filmmaker, sir? Like, what interested you? If you could tell your whole
First
journey.
of all, I'll introduce myself. I'm Avinash Shembatwad. Currently, I'm working as a executive magistrate, Tahsildar in Jivti Taluka of Chandrapur district in Maharashtra. And along with that, I'm working as a filmmaker. I always wanted to be a filmmaker, but I've never been to any film school. But um, just as a passion, I make films. Yeah.
Okay, great. So, sir, what inspired you to become a filmmaker, sir?
What inspired me? So from childhood, I was very much into films. Like I used to watch films by bunking schools, my lectures, tuitions. So everything about cinema fascinated me. So that was the triggering point for me to make films, because I think that if you can understand films, you can make films. So you don't need anybody to teach you what is right and what is wrong in cinema, as long as you know your subject and you know the emotions of your audience. So everyone is a filmmaker. So I think there are no boundaries for the filmmaking, though there are some rules that you have to follow, but um, the emotions and your understanding, that is very important. So from childhood, I was the kid who used to create scenarios in my mind, used to visualize things, and I was very much into reading and films. These two things, like, they are kind of, for people, cinema and reading is like they are two ends, like library and films. But I was very much into reading, and whenever I used to read, I tried to visualize the things, and that was the starting point of all this. And when I got to know about how to make films and some basics of filmmaking, so I tried my hands in making films, and somehow it worked. And so that is the pushing point, that is the starting point of me as a filmmaker.
Sir, was there a particular book or particular film that you like were like, that's why I want to become a filmmaker?
There are many films, but there was a film I watched as my first film is in theater, was The Legend of Bhagat Singh. That was the first film I watched in theater. Before that, we used to watch films in a video parlor, video cassette parlor. So at that time, there was we have to pay 1 rupee for the film. But when I went to around fourth or fifth, I think our school arranged a screening for The Legend of Bhagat Singh, and that was the first film I watched in theater. And the 70 screen, that was my dream. Someday I will. So I used to think that someday I will put my film on that big screen. So that was the first film which inspired me to become a filmmaker, and that was the film which connected me with Bhagat Singh, and I'm very much fond of. I'm very much a follower of Bhagat Singh. So that was the starting point. That was the film which inspired me to tell the stories to the world.
How old were you, sir, at that point of time?
Around 8 or 9 years old.
So you were
Yeah.
very young when you find out that you want to become a filmmaker.
No, I wanted to tell stories. That was the idea. At that time, I didn't know what is cinema, how they make films, or how they execute this thing called cinema. But the point was that I wanted to tell my stories. I wanted to create something which I can relate, which people can relate with, and which will there for the eternity. Like, I will create something in this world which will be there for the even if I'm not here. So that thing will last. That creativity, that creative part of me who wanted to create something, either film, drama, book, or either poetry, but I wanted to create something which was my own identity. Like, that was the point. Yeah.
So, sir, what did you study like during your graduation, school, colleges?
Okay. Uh, my schooling was from government school, but after that I joined engineering in Mumbai, Institute of Chemical Technology. Uh, so my thought behind that was to go to Mumbai, because everyone used to tell me that cinema is created in Mumbai. So I was not very much into the engineering. The motive behind that was to go to Mumbai and see how they make films, or to learn how to make a film. So that was the reason behind going to Mumbai. Uh, Before that, I used to write in school. I used to write stories, poems for my friends, and that was a very basic. That was a very new kind of thing. But I used to write something. But when I went to Mumbai for the engineering, I hardly attended college for 1.5 or 2 years, and then I dropped out of college. Yeah, so I never completed my engineering. I left it around second year. So that that thing doesn't excite me as an individual. So I left engineering and I started looking for something which will satisfy my desire as a creator. So I started learning filmmaking. I started learning theater. I also worked as a magician. That magic thing excited me a lot. I worked as a bar magician for a few years in Mumbai. That was to support also to support my expenses in Mumbai, because I had no job, or I was not studying at the time. So I worked as magician for some time, and then I realized that magic and cinema are kind of same things. They don't know what is happening behind the curtain. They don't know this side of magician. Audience only see the what I wanted them to show. So film and magic are basically same. People see what you wanted them to see. So magic also helped me to go into the cinema, and that was the starting point of my journey. Yeah.
So, sir, what was your parents' reaction? Like, you drop out of engineering and you started filmmaking. What was their reaction?
To be honest, I never told them that I dropped out of engineering. I came to know about this thing from someone else, from one of my friend, that I dropped out of college. They thought that I have completed my engineering and I am working somewhere. So that is the story I took also. But they came to know about that around 4 or 5 years after I joined engineering. So that was a very disturbing thing for them also, and that was the point I started taking life seriously. And then I started preparing for these civil services and these competitive exams. So they wanted me to do something that they think that will last. So that's why I started preparing for this UPSC and state civil service examination.
Sir, then, like, Chunaav is your first short film or the Lost Paradise?
No, my first feature was Yathaukash, a Marathi feature film. So I came to Pune for this Film and Television Institute to enroll in that institute. But at that time, there was some protest going on in the institute around the election of president or some kind of political thing. So I used to go in FTI every day. I used to attend those protests, and I didn't give any entrance that year. So few of my friends, they were preparing for this competitive exam, and they wanted me to prepare with them. So I started preparing, and I somehow managed to clear the exam. Fortunately or unfortunately, I didn't know, but I cleared that exam. And after that, my joining as a Tahsildar got delayed for around 1.5 years, and that was the time um, that was the free time I got, and we started to prepare to make this film called Yathavash, which was based on the struggles of competitive exam aspirants and the politics behind the competitive exam. So we shot that film in Pune. All the actors in that film are competitive exam aspirants. So none of the actor from that film is kind of established actor or with an experience of filmmaking. Even the technical team was new, excluding the DOP and music sound team. So that was my first film as a filmmaker, and that was the feature, and that was the film which taught me filmmaking. So I learned filmmaking while making the film. So I read this somewhere that if you want to be a filmmaker, first make a film. Kind of this, yeah. I some one of the great filmmaker told this, and I very much agree with that. If you want to be a filmmaker, just start making your film. So that is a process, and that film taught me everything which a film school will teach you within a span of 1 or 2 years. So I learned filmmaking through my first film.
So, sir, if you could tell in detail, like, what did you learn there?
Well, like I started from basic. I researched some basics of filmmaking. See, even if you know how, even if you can visualize film, but there are basic rules which you have to follow to make a film. I met I think, a few of filmmakers in Pune, in Mumbai, and we narrated the story to them. Everyone liked the story, but no one was very open about me directing the film or me getting into this. Even we went to this one of the institute in Pune, Pune University, and I narrated the story to them, the students, the faculties. They said, "We'll make the film for you, but we don't want you to be the part of this film because you are new. You don't know how to make a film." And that was very much true because they were students of filmmaking. I was not. But one thing I was very sure that I know the emotions of this film. I know what I wanted to tell and how I wanted to tell. I was very much clear about that. So the process started from learning basics. So how to frame, what is the framing, composition, blocking, and are the basics of filmmaking, right? Like sound design, editing, music, what is cinematography, what movement of camera tells to the audience, what they convey to, what emotion they convey to the audience. So I learned these basics and I started shooting random things. So I shot a first short film with me as an actor, just to learn how it looks, how the emotions get conveyed to audience, and I made that film. That was poetry of Faiz Ahmed Faiz, मुझसे पहली सी मोहब्बत मेरे महबूब न मान. And I shot some visuals on that poem, and that was my first short film as a filmmaker before Yathavash. That was the thing I make to see if I am capable of doing this feature film or this. Can I be a filmmaker? So that was the experiment. That was the trial and error, and somehow it worked. So then I started assembling the team. So no one wanted to work with a new director or someone who don't know filmmaking, someone who haven't learned filmmaking, and someone who is completely outsider to the film world. So luckily, I got a team in Pune. Many of them were my friends. Still are they are still there with me, and we assembled a team of around 25-30 people. And that was I remember our first meeting. No one knows how to make a film. Not even me, but everyone was very excited that we are going to make something, that we are going to make a film which will tell our own story, because all the people in this film were competitive exam aspirants, and I was very particular about that thing because I want them to tell their own story to the world. So that was the reason behind casting everyone from competitive exam field. So we around 30 people were on the project, and we started preparing for the rehearsal first. So first thing was to let them know about the characters they are playing and how to face the camera. So one of my mutual friend Vikrant Sawant, he's very much into filmmaking and drama. So he came on board to help us. And that was, I think then I will forever be grateful to him that he was my first teacher who taught me filmmaking. And so still things started taking momentum, and we organized workshop around 3 to 4 months. So when we got convinced, we shot first. We prepared that film as a drama. Okay, so we used to practice from start to end. So we prepared that film as a drama. The another reason behind that, we didn't have much budget. So every single rupee of this film was a crowdfunding, which every one of us gave from our pocket money. Some of my friends who were selected as an officer, they lended some money to us, and that was the capital we generated. So we don't want to the budget get overhyped or out of budget, the film to go out of budget. So we were very particular that we'll not take much time for shooting for the retakes. So that was the idea to rehearse as a drama. So we hardly took two takes for a particular scene, one for the safety, and unless we were convinced that this is okay, so everything was like single shot or two shot. So we shot that entire film in 5 to 6 days. Yeah.
And sir, how big was the crew? And like you shot, but how much time it took to like complete the film, like writing, editing, shooting, everything?
Okay. Yeah, the shoot, though the shoot was for 6 days, the writing took very much time, around 2 months, I think 2 to 3 months, because first I had to learn how to put a story into screenplay, and how to match the story for the film. So it took me around 2.5 months to complete the screenplay, and for editing, we it took around 6 months to for the post production, for the edit, music, and sound design and everything else. So the film got stuck many times because of lack of fund, but the technical team was very much into the film. They liked the film, so they cut their fees according to our requirement, and that was very. I think I will be grateful to them for putting their faith in this film, and they didn't even ask me for the money. They know we didn't have any fund, so they completed the project, and after that we managed some funds, and we paid them through that. But post production got delayed because of lack of funds, but everyone was very cooperative, so we managed to finish the films in around one year.
Okay, great. And where can we see the film, sir?
The film, one or two production houses wanted to release the film in theater. Yeah, so they are preparing for the theater release, and still we are in a meeting with few OTT platforms which are interested in releasing the film. But my motive was to make this film reach as many audience as we can, because it is the story of large section of youth in Maharashtra, their families, and the suffering they had due to this obsession with competitive exam and obsession with government job. So do you know what happened here in Pune or in the centers where there is a concentration of civil service aspirants and the classes and the whole business circle? So I was very particular that I release the film where it will be free for everyone to watch. I didn't want the film to release in theater. Even with in our first meeting with the distributors and production house, I told them that I wanted to release the film where it can be free. So I was still not very convinced about theater, because I don't want them to spend their money to watch this film, because I never made this film for money. So I want my first film to be free in public space, where everyone can watch, everyone can screen that film in institutes, schools, or anywhere they want. Let's see how the film got um, how will it come out. But currently the film is in few festivals. It won in few festivals. In Mumbai Independent Film Festival, it was the best feature films. In ICA also, we won for best director and second best feature films. So the film is in few festivals still. So after the festival run is complete, we'll release the film. Yeah.
Great, great, sir. And sir, the Lost Paradise, how the idea came and how was your experience?
The Lost Paradise was my personal work experience while I was working as a Tahsildar in Jyoti. I'll tell you few things about this place called Jyoti. Uh, Imagine a settlement, a whole taluka, which is not on the map. So that is the story behind Jyoti. It is basically a tribal settlement that was PVTGs, particularly vulnerable tribal groups, Go Kolams, and they are still very much into their primitive culture. They are not very much assimilated in mainstream. So idea was to highlight their culture, their history, and their struggles that they are facing now with the coming modernization and the effect of climate change on their life, their cropping pattern, and everything else around that. So the Jyoti Taluka was kind of full of minerals. The land, it was basically the taluka is situated on the hilltop, and the hill is very much rich into the minerals. So there are much mining is going on there. So this whole story of that those tribal people was excited me, that excited me as a filmmaker, and also as a bureaucrat. I wanted to tell their story to the world, to the government, and that was the starting point of the Lost Paradise. So I started researching about this tribal culture and their history. And then we sat one day with my team, and we said, let's make this not as a feature film, but as a docu-fiction. So we don't want to deviate from the reality of the this culture and the history. So we made the film as a docu-fiction, docudrama film. And the first premiere of the film was organized in Jyoti itself. And the guest of honor were the people who were the actors of this film. They had never been to any function, they had never been to any government office or any government festival, but that was the first time they were invited to some celebration program, this kind of program. And they were so happy. They were, after watching the film, they were so overwhelmed that they couldn't believe that this was the film they have acted, and this was the film that was shot in their own village. And only another thing about them is that they never allow anyone to enter into their cultural programs. So first I have to earn their trust through my work. Even BBC and Doordarshan tried to connect with them to shoot, to document this Dandari Husadi festival that they celebrate around Diwali, but they never allow any outsider to be included in their program. So that was very overwhelming for me that they allowed me to shoot there, and they were so cooperative with our team, with our crew, that we stayed in their village for around a week. And yeah, so and we took every single care not to disturb their celebration and not to create any nuisance to them. And we were the crew of only five to six people there. Every other help was provided by them. Like though the film shoot was big, but I didn't want to take like 10 20 30 people there and disturb their celebration. So we kept this very minimal in terms of crew, but grand in terms of production. So yeah.
Okay. So, sir,
And we,
why? Why they let you shoot? Like they haven't let the BBC or Doordarshan shoot. So
I think
what did you did?
I think that was my goodwill with them. I think personally, I think that they trusted me as a person, not as a filmmaker, not as a bureaucrat, not as their tehsildar, but as a person. They trusted me, and we had that connection. That they thought that I will not do any wrong with the thing I am doing. This thing started with we arranging some camps, we are starting visiting their village to understand their problems. If there were many cases that were stuck in tehsil office for years, and we cleared that those cases by taking camps, by visiting their village. So we started gaining their trust, and that was the point of me joining the service, that I wanted to work with people. I hardly stay in the office. Whenever I get time, I try to visit on ground. So you don't get any idea what is going on the ground by sitting in the office. So maybe that was the thing, that they never saw any tehsildar visiting their village. So when their the first heavy rain was there in Jyoti, so we visited the villages which were affected by rain by with our staff, and they were very much kind of happy that someone has visited them in these many years personally to see what is happening on the ground. And that was the point that we started gaining their faith, and we started generating that good faith, goodwill with them. So that was the point that they allow us to shoot, and we shot this with very uttermost dignity, that we should not harm their sentiments in any way. We never carried any distillery bottle in the village. Never. We never carry our own food in the village. Maybe I'll tell you a story. After a week of shoot, all of my crew members were ill, but they never complained me that we have to face these difficulties in the shooting. They are so excited, with everything was new for them, and that was the thing that they liked, that we never had any food, any outside food. Whatever we had with them is their own cooked food, and everything we shared with them. So that was the goodwill we created with them, and that was the I think factor that helped us to create this film called The Lost Paradise.
Oh, great. So now let's talk about Chunaav. It will be shown in New York Indian Film Festival. So first of all,
Yes,
sir, congratulations.
thank you. Thank
And sir, how the idea came and what was your experience in this film? It's a
you.
short film.
Yeah, it's a short film. Chunaav was the origin of Chunaav lies in one of my visit to a village which was Naxal affected in 90s. So I visited the village, and we started interacting with people, and they came up with these stories of the Naxals. They shared their experiences with Naxals, and I thought this needs to be shared with the world. That how ordinary people took stand against these Naxals, and they how they have their faith in democracy, though they live in such a remote area. So that was the point I that was the point, because I wanted to create this film called Chuna. So I was very particular that we want all the actors to be from that community, from that village, so that it doesn't look like we have created something by taking the actors, or it doesn't look artificial. So we shot that film where it was where this thing has happened, and all the actors we took were the local tribals, and they were very much excited. They were never seen any camera in their village. So the Chunaav was the story that I got to listen while I was working as a probationary. I was working as a trainee tahsildar, and when whatever I have created as a filmmaker came from my own personal experiences. So that was the story behind Chunaav.
Sir, any difficulties you faced while making?
The only difficulty we had was there was no network in the village, and there were we if we have to get anything, we need to travel at least 30-40 kilometers to get anything. So the thing happened that the generator got there was a problem with the generator, and we didn't have any electricity in the village. So I think the diesel was there was no diesel for the generator. Something happened. They forgot to bring the diesel. So one of villager came, or the sarpanch came, and he arranged the diesel from someone. They took the diesel from their tractor, and they started this thing. So they were so helpful that if we get any difficulty, the villagers were there to help us. So even if the shoot was the terrain was hard and the shoot was in a remote area, but the people were so excited, so helpful that we didn't. I don't think that we have much difficulty in shooting Chunaav. So the only thing was the electricity and the network connection. So that was the problem. And one more thing, that the Chunaav is shot in the forest. So that forest has very much a nuisance of wild animals like tigers, leopards, and so that was the thing, we couldn't shoot in the night. So we have to be in the house during the night. Even in the daytime, when we were shooting in the forest, we used to hurt some. We saw many animals during the shoot, but unfortunately, we didn't have encounter with a tiger or a leopard. But that was fun, actually. That was fun for the team and for me also.
Okay, okay. Great, great, sir. Sir, are you doing any other projects right now?
Uh, there is a feature film I currently in the writing stage, and that we are planning to shoot around October. So it's a film about a kind of Article 377 of IPC. So that is the subject I wanted to bring to the light. And so we are current. This project is currently in the writing stage, and will soon go on the floor.
Okay, okay. Sir, if somebody wants to like assist you, so how they can approach you, sir?
See, I don't think by assisting me, they'll be very much equipped with big productions, because we work in very limited budget and we with limited production. But if anyone wants to join us, we are always welcome. There were few students, they joined us for the Lost Paradise, and they were so happy to work with us, even with the limited facilities and the limited production budget. But the subject excites them most, and if anyone wants to work with us, they are always welcome. We will definitely accommodate them.
Okay, great. Sir, if you could recommend few film as well, your favorite films and filmmakers.
Films I will recommend. I like the filmmaking style of Anurag Kashyap sir. Because, see, if you want to reach to the larger audience, there is the thin line between art film and kind of parallel films. So I think Anurag Kashyap sir know how to put any subject as a commercial into the commercial film, though it has a class. So all the films of Anurag Kashyap sir, Ugly, Gangs of Wasseypur, recent Kennedy, which will come to theater. So I think I learned very much from their films, and I think in Marathi I recommend Nagaraj Manjay sir. I like his filmmaking style, and maybe he's inspiration for many Marathi filmmakers to join the industry. And because a person who is from outside the industry and created such a remarkable impact on the industry. Another name is Akshay Indikar sir. Akshay Indikar sir, I liked his film Trija, Udanat Nemade.
Which is on movie. It says on movie, I
Yes,
guess.
yes, both the films are on movie. And Akshay sir is a very good friend of mine. He helped me with the film Yathaukash when we first screened the film in National Film Archive of India. Akshay sir was the chief guest, and after when he saw the film, he told me that I'll take this film to the Mumbai to my team and I'll read the film. So that was very generous of him to help mm, people like us who are very new, very new to the filmmaking, and uh, he took the film to the Mumbai, and his team worked on the film's final draft editing. Even the Chunav's first draft, the first person to see the Chunav was Akshay Indikar sir. And when he said, "Yes, this is done," in the all aspect, you don't need to work on anything else. Then I make the film public. Even then, for the Lost Paradise, I showed the film to Akshay sir. And after his suggestions, few changes, we are working on it, and after that, we'll release the film. So he is the person who is always there for us, for me, to help, and I think his films um, taught us many things. Like he even in Trija, which was the internal struggle of a person, of an individual, of an artist, which every artist can relate. So I think his films are very good as an for the new filmmakers, very knowledgeable and very interesting.
Any other filmmakers you want to say?
Um, the other filmmakers, I like that film Fight Club. I mean, what a great film! David Fincher, yes. Um, so when I was in college, I didn't attend my classes. I used to watch films, 2 or 3 films daily. So that was, if you want to learn filmmaking, watch films. Like uh, there was a director called Torrentino. He used to work in a DVD shop. So one of his interview, the interview asked him where you learned filmmaking. So he said in my DVD shop. So he is also a good filmmaker. All of his films are masterpiece. So these are the two directors I want the new filmmakers to watch. And anything you watch, try to learn something from the film. I think there are no good films, bad films. There are films. Everyone has put their efforts, their blood and sweat into filmmaking. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but every film will tell you something, every film will teach you something. Another filmmaker is Imtiaz Ali sir, that is Tamasha, is the recent Amar Singh Chamkila, even his old film Socha Na Tha, Jab You Made. Those films are also good. So anything you watch, you will learn something from the film.
Yeah, true.
Yes.
Okay. Sir, thank you so much sir, for joining. Such a pleasure to be able to talk to you. And first of all, and again, sir, congratulations. Chunaav will be shown in New
Thank you
York
so much.
Indian Film Festival. When it will be shown, sir?
On 1st of June, 9:30 p.m. in New York.